Okay, I blew that. Hang on. Let's start with this. All right. I wasn't really paying attention there, and so that's why I didn't know that thing started over. It shouldn't have started over. That was weird. Anyway, good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, hump day on the Morning Night Live, and I just have a truckload of things to go through the day. It's going to be a lot of quick hits today because there's just so much stuff going on. Oh, wow, Diesel Dave, I haven't seen you for a while. Nice to have you back. There is, although I just ran across an article or a Twitter thread that already has me annoyed, which I really wasn't even planning on talking about because I hadn't seen it yet until I just went checked Twitter trends and Twitter news, and it's this stupid thing. No, I didn't go full boomer again. I just didn't pay attention. By the way, I gotta fix that. What the hell's going on here? This should be. Oh, see, that's not supposed to loop. That's the problem. Restart, nothing. All right, that's the way it should be. All right, if I fix that. Anyway. So just as I was, and this is why I had my little gaffe there. This from the Financial Times. They're already seeking revenge on the president. It doesn't surprise me at all. This is what you're going to start hearing about. People want Trump prosecuted. But the question is, for what? For what? Okay. So this is the start of the thread. It's no secret that Trump tested and, or wait a minute. Here it is. When Joe Biden is sworn in, oh, fuck. Let me put this in here. Let's try that. There we go. I've already sworn. When Joe Biden is sworn in as president on January 20th, he will be forced to tackle an issue that may define his presidency as much as the health and livelihoods of the American people. The fate of his predecessor, Donald Trump. The thread continues. It's no secret that Trump has tested and twisted the U.S. political system to the breaking point. Well, maybe, no. He actually has it. That's the thing. Y'all have, and I mean y'all that from day one was trying to get him out of office, are the ones who've actually done the testing and twisting. He's done a remarkable job in spite of you assholes. But anyway, serving as a one-man crash course on the U.S. Constitution and legal and ethical norms. A big question remains. Should Washington prosecute a former president? You want to start this shit? Oh, you want to start this? While in office, Trump has been protected by the Department of Justice numerous times. Really? You mean, I hope you have a good example. For instance, the DOJ helped the president stall a state criminal investigation into possible tax fraud. Wow. You know, the president has been audited by the IRS every year for the past, 20 years? You think the IRS would have possibly prosecuted him for tax fraud if there was things that they came up with that they should have figured out in those audits? But they haven't. So why would it happen while he's president? Oh, that's right. Y'all were trying to get him out of office. That's what it was. Those protections fall away in just over a month from now, leaving Trump's fate in the hands of his political opponents, the haters, and should they proceed, ultimately the courts, With that in mind, no former U.S. president has ever faced prosecution. Wow. The president's conduct before and while in office offers potential targets for possible federal investigation. Most notably, Robert Mueller's investigation into the 2016 Trump campaign found several instances of possible obstruction of justice. You would think there would have to be a predicate for the obstruction of justice. How do you obstruct justice for something that turns out to be a nothing burger? Although you did your best to make it sound like Russian collusion. While Trump has wrecked the norms that kept the DOJ at a political distance from the White House. Really, Eric Holder, wingman to the former president? Or, what the hell's her name? Not Lois Lerner. Who was the last, the woman who was the, anyway, I'll figure it out. Kept the DOJ at a political distance. Loretta Lynch. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Loretta Lynch really did nothing and paid no attention to Barack Obama, I'm sure. Biden has pledged to restore the walls that previously existed. Yeah, by bringing in Sally Yates, one of the people who lied before Congress. It begs the question, will Biden pursue an investigation into Trump? He steadfastly refused to say one way or the other whether he believes Trump should be prosecuted for what? Be specific. And he certainly does not want to be the centerpiece of his administration. Hey, guess what? If you do, it will be the only thing in your administration, because you're not going to last that long anyway. In terms of saying, I think the president violated the law, I think the president did this, therefore go and prosecute him. I will not do that. Joe Biden said that. You might also be wondering, can the president pardon himself? Not interested. No, he doesn't need to. The short answer is no, but a 1974 DOJ legal opinion raised the idea that a president could temporarily give their powers to the vice president for the purposes of a pardon. Yeah, that's your own fever dream fantasy. Trump will leave the White House with a potential personal criminal liability for what? Unlike any commander-in-chief since Richard Nixon, but will he be prosecuted? Or will an investigation be used as one of the grievances to paint a potential comeback in 2024? Damn right it will. Oh, it's just amazing. So this person down here, should the former president be prosecuted? Absolutely, 100%. Yes, he spent 4 years declaring himself and his family and his cronies above the law. How? The investigation that took 3 years came up with crap.
Gotcha, bitch.
Nothing will happen to him and his family. At the end of the day, they all belong to the Club of Presidents. There's going to be a lot of people who just straight up haters who are going to ask that he be prosecuted. And I just say, you know what? You want Trump in 2024? Prosecute him as soon as if Joe gets into office. Go right ahead. You think? Oh boy. Anyway, let's say good morning because I haven't done that yet. I know. Lots of people already here. Let's see. Who is in the chat today? Good morning, Maniac Man, who got here first. He gets the bell. Also, good morning, Mike Savage, Blarg, and my friend from down under, Richo. Also, good morning, Rittenhouse Unit. Yar. Selected boys here.
Yeah,
also,
boy.
Fox P2, who got a Kia advertisement. Oh, cool. I'm getting car ads. Awesome. Diesel Dave, who I am so happy to see again. I haven't seen you for a while, my friend. Gunfox61, what's up? Also, let's see, Anna Lynn's in the house. Hello. Johnny Hellcat, the original watcher of the Morning Night Live. James Colley's here. Thank you for coming by, sir. Also, oh my goodness. Yeah, by the way, I'll give you a coof update in a minute. And yes, I got a slight cough now. Here's the thing. Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. Good morning, Advocatus Diaboli, the devil's advocate. Good morning, Keenan. Good. How you doing? Katie did skate. Should we discuss? Nah, we're not going to talk about it. I should talk about. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. We had a funny conversation in another chat yesterday, and whatever. Full boomer. I got your full boomer. Also, good morning, Purple Pill Perspective. TC Ball, what's happening? And let's see, is that everybody? It's close. It's close. Yes, that's the end of the line there. Jim Beam, how you doing? Nice to see you. All right. So like I said, I have got a whole bunch of stuff to try to get through today, and it's mostly going to be quick hits just on things that need updating. Before I do that, though, thank you, Johnny Hellcat and Becca Farley. Becca, if you're here, hello. Oh, Bim Jim, I didn't see you there. Kyra Alexander, I apologize. Every time that I do this, the chat jumps, and then sometimes I don't get to see everybody. So if I missed you, don't take it personally. I will probably catch up when I see you again. So Johnny Hellcat and Becca Farley, thank you for tweeting out the show. If you'd be so kind, share the show, hit the share button, or you can follow me on Twitter, mine's Gab or Parler, all at PDawgKnight, that down there. Even though it doesn't say all those there, you can always do that. James Colley, I got the COVID. Well, I'm going to find out within, it's been 24 hours, so within, 48 hours, I guess. So update on the COVID thing. Those of you who didn't see my video earlier in the week, I got home Monday, had no sense of taste, no sense of smell, but I wasn't achy. I didn't have a cough. I didn't have a fever. But I did have a mild headache. So we're like, okay, we're going to go through the little online thing there and see what I should do. And it said, well, go to Walgreens and take a COVID test. And so, yesterday at noon, I had my COVID test. It was a self-administered test. You got to drive. First of all, you got to make the appointment, and then you drive up to the drive-in window at Walgreens, and they see your ID, but you don't go near them. And then they send you this little bag that has the swab and a little tube. You do the nose thing 4 times in each nostril, drop it in the tube, seal it in the bag, and then you drive a little farther and drop it into their drop box. And they say in 72 hours, I will know. Now, I did have a slight fever yesterday morning, 100.6, and then it went down to 100.1, and then by the end of the day, I was just normal temperature again. But then this morning, I think it might be just if I'm laying in bed too long, it might heat me up, because I got up this morning and had a slight fever too. But today I have a slight cough too, and a little tickle in the throat. So anyway. But excuse me. I'm not super concerned yet, but we'll find out. We'll find out a couple days, and I'll let you know. I did take a video of me doing the self-administered test, though. Maybe I'll edit that video today. I was going to edit some videos yesterday, and I said, I'm just going to go stay in bed all day. And that's what I did. And, Lady Boomer brought me some food and had a lot of water. In fact, I can't even drink. I would drink coffee, but I can't taste it. So I have the Reparations water today, which is fantastic. So anyway, P-Dawg, have they been chemtrailing in your area? I think that's why it affects our taste and smell if they spray. I don't know about that. I don't understand the whole chemtrail thing, so we're not going to go there. All right, let's. We'll just kind of go in order that I have these tabs and get through some news today. The first thing on my list, let's talk about the election a little bit. Chris Kobach says that, no. What's this? I don't need the notifications. Chris Kobach says January 6th may very well be a big fight in Congress regarding the election. Former Kansas Secretary of State Chris Kobach told Breitbart News on Tuesday that some Republican majority rule state legislatures may challenge votes of electors in Congress on January 6th, offering his remarks in an interview on Sirius XM, Breitbart News Daily with host Alex Marlow. Congress is scheduled to certify the Electoral College vote on January 6th. Kobach said because the Supreme Court of the United States has not taken the big Texas case, now people are looking at January 6th. When it is possible for Congress, this is when Congress accepts the votes of the electors in the Electoral College, it is possible for members of Congress to raise objections, and that appears to be what some states are planning. You saw some of the Republican legislatures talking about submitting names of a Republican set of electors, and may very well be a big fight in Congress over whether the votes of the electors of those states where they changed the rules without legislative action should be accepted, Kobach added. So stay tuned. And it certainly is possible. I don't know if anyone is that brave, honestly. Maybe Rand Paul, because you got to have one congressperson and one senator for any objection like that. And I just, I don't know. I'll leave the article in the tabs just so you can read it, but I don't know. Moving on. In the meantime, Mitch McConnell, Cocaine Mitch, the turtle, has congratulated President-elect Biden. Also, he congratulated Vice President Harris. So here's his speech from the other day. We'll just play it. It's this part here. Let's pop that open there. We'll go full screen. Oh, first donation of the day. Thank you, Johnny Hellcat, for the $4.99 through Streamlabs, who says, I am off to lurk. I went to get tested since some coworkers and clients at the group homes I work at all tested positive, better safe than sorry, and I'm off to work. Have a great day, everybody. Well, thank you, Johnny Hellcat. You have a great day, too. Also, good morning. Joe Biden's in the chat. He's hiding under the name Uncle Bad Touch.
Come on, man.
That joke will never get old. Anyway, so there you go. Thank you, Johnny Hellcat. All right, here's Cocaine Mitch. Here's just his short part of the speech that matters.
But our system of government has processes to determine who will be sworn in on January the 20th. The Electoral College has spoken. So today I want to congratulate President-elect Joe Biden. The President-elect is no stranger to the Senate. He's devoted himself to public service for many years. I also want to congratulate the Vice President-elect, our colleague from California, Senator Harris. Beyond our differences, all Americans can take pride that our nation has a female Vice President-elect for the very first time. I look forward to finishing out the next 36 days strong with President Trump. Our nation needs us to add another bipartisan chapter to this record of achievement.
Yeah,
but our system...
Whatever. So, by the way, we found out also yesterday that apparently in 2019, Mitch McConnell was giving he voted against a voter security, or he refused to bring a voting security act to the floor of the Senate. Not long after some voting machine companies donated to his campaign. Yay! Way to go. So I don't know. He's part of the swamp. But the other thing too, it's for Mitch McConnell as the leader of the Senate. I don't have a problem with him congratulating Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. the Electoral College voted, and so that's his job. He's being a diplomat right now. We don't know what's going to happen with everything, but most likely Joe Biden will be sworn in on January 20th, and that's going to be it. But that's Mitch's job, so I guess I don't really have a terrible problem with that. Is Becca Farley here? It's her birthday, but I don't know if she's here. She tweeted the show out, but I don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I know it's her birthday. By the way, it is Becca Farley's birthday. Maybe if you're lurking, Becca. Oh, hello, Check Your Logic too. If you're lurking, Becca. Well, I'll wait. I'll wait to see if you're here. So anyway, a lot of people are making a big deal of this. It's his job. And if things change, Mitch has no problem playing hardball and things, so I'm not worried about it so much. All right, moving on. Now, the things that we should be concerned about is hello, Bearcock and Uncle Bad Touch. Happy birthday. Let me sniff your hair. Oh, my goodness. Goodness gracious. Anyway, Joe Biden. So, in Georgia, we know we're having, we're having a Senate runoff election. And there's Margolis wrote this editorial about Raphael Warnock, who says that Georgia's Senate candidate is a radical, bigoted nut job. Okay, that's an interesting description. Reverend Raphael Warnock, one of the Democratic candidates for the U.S. Senate in Georgia runoff elections, praised the racist and anti-Semitic Louis Farrakhan's Nation of Islam back in 2013. On July 11, 2013, Warnock gave a lecture. Oh my gosh. Gave a lecture at the Chautauqua Institution in Chautauqua, New York, called The Divided Mind of the Black Church, Theology, Piety, and Public Witness. During a Q&A after the lecture, he was asked by a member of the audience about the Nation of Islam's relationship with the church and whether the black church is having similar attendance problems as so-called mainstream white churches and synagogues. Well, the Nation of Islam is significant, he said, but its numbers don't come anywhere near the membership of our churches, Warnock explains. Its voice has been important. Its voice has been important even for the development of black theology. I didn't know there's such thing as black theology because it was the black Muslims who challenged black preachers and said, you're promulgating, they called the white man's religion. It's a slave religion. They're telling people to focus on heaven. Meanwhile, they're catching hell. So we need the witness of the Nation of Islam in a real sense to put a fire under us and keep us honest about the meaning of the proclamation coming for our pulpits. And his radical left-wing racial ideology is well documented. In 2008, he defended Barack Obama's racist former pastor, Reverend Jeremiah Wright, during an appearance on Fox News, even defending Wright's "Goddamn America" remarks as a form of the truth-telling tradition of the black church, which makes people uncomfortable. Warnock then blamed the media for constant playing over and over of the same sound bites outside of context. Well, it wasn't outside of context. They showed the whole damn thing. Anyway, I'm not, look, there's a whole list of things if you want to learn more about Warnock from this perspective. I just think he is of that. He'd be the first ultra progressive, like we're talking AOC ultra progressive in the Senate. I don't know. I have no idea. I prefer that the Republicans at least keep the Senate. So if you know anyone in Georgia, make sure they vote for the two idiots who are running as Republicans, and eventually we can get rid of them too. But anyway. Good morning, you're a ridiculous lunatic. How you doing? Good morning, Zero the Hero and Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
Nice to have you in the chat. Moving on, Nevada More election stuff. Nevada GOP subpoenas the DMV. Sorry. I did not start coughing until I started doing this show. Holy crap. Hello, Ebony Williams. How you doing? Nevada GOP subpoenas DMV. Data reveals thousands of non-citizen voters. Oh. The revelation adding to a long list of fraudulent election activities in the critical swing state comes as a result of Nevada's Department of Motor Vehicles automatically registering all voters who apply for driver's license. Since legal and illegal non-citizens can hold a driver's license and identification cards, if the DMV fails to do their due diligence, non-citizens can easily be registered to vote, as explained by the Nevada GOP. Under the subpoena, the state's GOP obtained data that showed green card holders and non-citizens who had obtained driver's licenses. From this official data set, the Nevada GOP compared this detailed information against the county voter records in Nevada and discovered that 6,260 non-citizens were registered to vote and 3,987 non-citizens had voted. In a signed statement under the penalty of perjury, the group's data analyst, Jesse Comzol, outlined his findings, which he emphasized merit further investigation. So I think we knew this, that in some cases they were getting some of these motor voter registrations, they just automatically sign you up to be to vote, even if they don't take into account your citizen status. And some of the states who allow illegals to have driver's license are forbidden from asking you of your legal status. So they automatically sign you up as a registered voter too, and then you can vote in that state. All right, moving on. Oh, what the hell is this? No, I don't want to start a trial. There we go. If you didn't hear already, Biden taps Buttigieg. I'll just let that hang there for a second. For a cabinet position, critics immediately note issues given to Buttigieg's record. Democrat Joe Biden tapped former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg to head the U.S. Department of Transportation on Tuesday, a move which instantly sparked controversy given Buttigieg's record while mayor. If confirmed by the U.S. Senate, he will run a sprawling federal agency that oversees the nation's airlines, highways, and transit systems. Reuters reported at the Transportation Department, Buttigieg may be tasked with overseeing much of Biden's plan to dramatically boost infrastructure spending, including building 550,000 electric vehicle charging stations and boosting spending on high-speed rail and other green projects. In other words, money pits. And persuading Congress to find a way to pay for new spending. Oh, gee, how can you find a way to pay for new spending? I think, well, they can tax the shit out of everybody because there are not enough rich people. Sorry, there's not enough people who make over $400,000 a year. The idea that you can only tax people over $400,000 who make only over $400,000 a year ain't gonna work. Sorry, there's not enough for the type of spending you're talking about. That boondoggles high-speed rail system in California, that's still in, well, whatever, it's screwed. Anyway, now while he was mayor of South Bend, the city's roads became nearly impassable in some spots because they had deteriorated so badly. According to local news reports, in 2018, local car repair shops. Sorry, guys. It's going to be a long day. Local car repair shops said that they had not seen anything that bad in well over a decade. The situation became so bad that residents of South Bend reached out to Domino's Pizza in 2019 for help and received a $5,000 Paving for Pizza grant to fill potholes. Maybe that's what they could do. They can go to Domino's Pizza and ask for like 20 miles of high-speed rail track, and then go to Papa John's and ask for another 20 miles, and then go to Amazon, ask for 500 miles, and then go to another company and ask for this many miles. Just whatever. Anyway, Now, someone made the joke. I'm not even going to tell the joke. It's a bad joke. Buttigieg doesn't bother me quite as much as he does others. He's great on some things, not great on others, and Biden owes him. But he should serve in a role that he's qualified for and has expertise in. Transportation Secretary isn't that. Now, it's interesting also, yesterday, is it Charles Payne, who's on Fox Business News, said something about how Pete Buttigieg would be the first openly gay cabinet member. He had to eat those words this morning. He apologized to Richard Grenell, who Trump appointed. Too late. Anyway, moving on. And Eric Fartwell. Like I said, this is random and quick fire, and we're just going through a lot of different things. House Republicans are growing a pair, apparently. They are asking for the removal of Eric Swalwell from the Intelligence Committee. It's about damn time. Representative Jim Banks and Chip Roy, along with 15 other House Republicans, drafted a letter Tuesday to Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, calling for Representative Eric Swalwell's removal from the House Intelligence Committee due to his ties to a suspected Chinese spy. Good morning, Pat. What's up, my man? The letter details both the compromised nature of Swalwell's position, given his personal relationship with an alleged Chinese spy, Fang Fang. He did the bang bang with Fang Fang. In addition to the double standard from congressional Democrats regarding foreign interference in American politics. Thank you, Stab and Joe Scarborough. Good morning. And also, thank you for the donation through YouTube Super Chat, who says, sorry, I'm late, P-Dawg. I have a backhoe in my yard and they're digging. Not good. Ooh, great show, though. Love you, man. Well, I appreciate that so much. And okay, it depends on, a backhoe in your backyard's never a good thing. That tells me that's either a septic system or some plumbing that you got to get in real deep for. So good luck to you, Joe. Holy shit. Anyway, the letter details both the compromised nature of Swalwell's position, given his personal relationship with the alleged Chinese spy Fang Fang. I know I read this already. In addition to this double standard from congressional Democrats regarding the foreign interference in American politics. Quote, Speaker Pelosi spent 4 years yelling about President Trump being compromised by Russia, despite never having evidence to support her claim. Well, now we have proof our foremost adversary compromised a lawmaker who regularly handles highly classified intelligence, Banks said in a press release. Speaker Pelosi needs to step up, put country over party, and call on Representative Swalwell to resign from the House Intelligence Committee. And as we already know, Swalwell failed to disclose to the Intelligence Committee his working relationship with Fang, who gained enough influence with the California Democrat to place multiple interns in his office and befriend Swalwell's brother and father on Facebook. Swalwell chairs one of the 4 subcommittees on the House Intelligence Committee, which I got to tell you, him being on anything that says intelligence in it, that's dubious. Anyway, Becca Farley, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Becca. Happy birthday to you. Woo! Happy birthday, Becca Farley. I'm so glad you made it. Also, good morning. Good morning, Amy in Connecticut. How are you doing? All right. All right. Enough of that. Everyone say happy birthday to Becca, though. All right. We're going to move on because, like I said, it's quick fire day today, man. I'm going to. Gavin. Now, Gavin Newsom, there is petition to have him recalled. You know who Gavin Newsom is, the governor of California. Well, under threat of recall, here's the problem. Gavin Newsom may get to name 2 U.S. senators while he's waiting. I'll be like, okay. California Governor Gavin Newsom has had a rough year, although praised at the start of the pandemic for ordering the first nationwide or statewide lockdown in the U.S., it's all been downhill since then. Wildfires, electricity shortages, and billion-dollar scandal involving inmates receiving unemployment checks would have been enough to drive his approval through the floor, but now he's dealing with the fallout from a resurgent coronavirus that has him locking down most of the state again and urging residents to wear a mask while eschewing social gatherings. Too bad he didn't take his own advice. Newsom was caught having maskless dinner with his rich friends. Oh shit, what'd I do? I'm lost. Okay, what the hell happened here? This move? Oh, okay. With millions in economic distress, at least that could be said of the event. The least that could be said of the event was it was bad optics. The scandal spurred a recall effort that organizers say is gaining steam after the French laundry affair. They say they have about half of the 1.5 million signatures needed to get the issue on the ballot. Newsom isn't standing still and waiting for the recall truck to hit him. He's making some moves to shore up his staff, stocking his office with political vets who have been through the wars. From the Associated Press, Newsom appears to be getting on campaign footing. He has hired veteran capital insider Jim DeBoo as a senior advisor, which could help him repair frayed relationships with legislators and bring sharper political instincts to his office. Newsom also just named Dee Myers, former Warner Brothers executive and White House press secretary for Bill Clinton, as director of the governor's office of business and economic development. Now, while many Californians would dearly love to see Newsom tarred and feathered and run out of town on a rail, many more would hesitate. In the midst of a pandemic, a massive vaccination effort to inoculate 40 million people, and a huge economic downturn, many Californians who otherwise might be inclined to throw the bum out realize that changing horses at this stage could be dangerous. But the recall will definitely be a distraction. It may come at a time when Newsom is required to name not one U.S. senator to replace Kamala Harris after she's sworn in, but two. The state's senior senator, Dianne Feinstein, is suffering the normal effects of aging and may decide to retire. The 88-year-old Feinstein was being pushed out the door anyway because of Progressive Democratic Party has become a party of kooks and crazies, California politics on steroids. She just doesn't fit in anymore. Apparently, because she didn't do a good job sabotaging the Amy Coney Barrett nomination to the Supreme Court, the radicals were enraged. So much so that they forced her into a humiliating position of having to give up her seat as ranking minority member of the Judiciary Committee. They ran her out. And there have been whispers from her staff and some in the media that she's suffering from cognitive decline. Yeah, she's having some issues. There's been articles out there talking about how she's having trouble remembering things. Now, I don't know if those articles are coming as hit pieces or if she's actually having troubles. But, she's 88 years old, man. Go finish your, life with grandkids and great-grandkids. But anyway, the fact that he could name two U.S. senators on the way out is just particularly appalling, actually. But anyway, speaking of which, this is the, as we said earlier, hang on here. Let's get this back on the screen. There we go. Effort to recall Gavin Newsom is halfway to its signature goal. An effort to recall California Governor Gavin Newsom has reportedly reached the halfway mark as organizers claim they have collected half of the 1.5 million signatures needed by mid-March to put the issue to the voters statewide. The Associated Press reported, now, did we do this already? It's not uncommon for California residents to seek recall, but they rarely get it on the ballot, even fewer succeed. Several launched against Newsom faded, but another attempt is drawing greater attention as his fortunes change while he enters a critical stretch in his governorship. Newsom received high praise for his aggressive approach to the coronavirus last spring when he issued the nation's first... Okay, we just read this already, so I'm not going to do it again. But yeah, anyway, they're halfway there. Whoa, we're halfway there. Oh, living on a prayer. swear. Moving on to Portland, I swear. Where are they? Really don't have a prayer. Anyway, let's talk about Portland, which is the name of the title today, reference today about the squatters, right? That was a play on words, squatters, right? Anyway, Portland lets Antifa win big again. Last week, Portland law enforcers raided a house that had, for months, been illegally occupied by trespassers affiliated with Black Lives Matter and Antifa. At the barricaded property, officers made arrests and found a stockpile of firearms. Under normal circumstances, the armed trespassers would be prosecuted, and that would be the end of the story. But in riot-plagued Portland, things are very far from normal. The city's progressive district attorney immediately dropped the charges. That's that Mike Schmidt. He's an asshole, I got to tell you. Immediately dropped the charges against the occupiers, and their comrades soon sent in reinforcements to build a sprawling autonomous zone in the middle of a densely populated residential area. Militants called the place the Red House Autonomous Zone, RHAZ, Raz, named after the red-colored house occupied at the heart of the zone. In doing so, they took inspiration from Seattle's Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. During the summer, leftist extremists chased police out of the 6-block area of the Emerald City and drew their own borders, complete with checkpoints manned by armed security. The 3-week experiment in lawlessness ended in mass vandalism, attempted rape, multiple shootings, and 2 homicides. Portland's Raz is following the same footsteps. By the way, can we call them colonizers now? I mean, they're colonizers, right? That's what they're doing. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I would call them colonizers. Well, but what say you? Colonizers? Yeah. Anyway, the house at the center of the autonomous zone was occupied by members of the Kinney family and their allies. The Kinneys, who haven't paid their mortgage since 2017, were evicted after a tortuous legal process. Now, I think this is important to note too, because some people were trying to make this about the whole coronavirus thing, and that's really not what this is about. This, like I said, they haven't paid their mortgage since 2017, long before we had anything to do with coronavirus. In fact, during that time, the economy was getting better and whatnot, and but if you're not familiar with it, especially in some states, it's really hard to foreclose on people. And so, and they had, excuse me, they had like 7 or 8 people live in this house. I don't know why they haven't paid their mortgage since 2017. But anyway, the fact that, and then the other thing too, the fact that they own a second house nearby didn't prevent the mixed race Kinneys and their allies from claiming victimization by, you guessed it, racism.
That's racist!
Soon after last week's raid on the occupied house, some 100 Antifa comrades mobilized through social media to retake the space. There is an active call for numbers, defensive gear, and supplies, and change of clothes, tweeted Antifa group Youth Liberation Front. Within a few hours, the entire street was blocked off with stolen fencing, wood, and junk taken from nearby homes. Some brought in power tools to reinforce the barriers. The militants laid out piles of rocks, metal spikes, and glass bottles as strategic points to act as supply points for projectile weapons. They lined the road with impromptu booby traps, upward-facing nail strips, caltropes, I don't know what that is, and more. Portland police officers tried to shut down the Raz early on, but they were attacked and chased away. Their police cruisers were smashed up, and they didn't return. Those present at the barricade should leave it behind, put down your weapons, and allow the neighborhood to return to peace and order. Portland Police Chief Chuck Lovell asked the militants, who ignored his polite request. To protect our autonomous zone, the militants had their own team of roving security, quote unquote, just like at Chaz. They openly carried rifles and pistols. Neighborhood families felt terrorized. Some have left. Raz widened its territorial, excuse me, widened its territorial expanse by the day. The militants added additional barricades further out from the Red House to act as a buffer. Graffiti marked their new land. Hang your landlord. Landlords get the wall. Kill a cop. Aren't they special? The slogan Free Gage also plastered the zone. Antifa militant Gage Halupowski was convicted and imprisoned last year over the unprovoked beating of a Portland man during an Antifa riot downtown. Halupowski struck Adam Kelly on the head with a baton, busting open his head. And while many media outlets served as apologists for Antifa during their long months of rioting, reporters didn't find refuge in Raz. Local news crews had was surrounded and assaulted for walking in. The female reporter at the scene was treated at a hospital for a bloody hand injury. Kill press, Antifa wrote in several locations to warn other outlets after that. They also wrote my name, this is Andy Doe writing this, and an address on a large wall. After 6 days of violent anarchy, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler announced at a news conference that an agreement had been reached, though he didn't spill the details. By Tuesday, some of the barricades had come down, allowing vehicular traffic through for the first time in a week. The Kennys, however, denied that an agreement had been reached. They said they will continue to occupy the property, even though the viral GoFundMe campaign for the family has already raised more than $308,000, far more than what it would cost to buy the Red House. And remember, they own a house nearby as well. City of Portland, meanwhile, has set a perilous new precedent. It will not only negotiate with extremists, it will accommodate their bizarre demands. Portland, fix your shit. Anyway, good morning, Resler. Good morning, Donatello Slapfellow. How you doing? Moving on. Speaking of which, now, there apparently have been some court filings regarding this place, and they reveal the bizarre story behind the new Red House protest. For many Portlanders, the small Red House on North Mississippi Avenue is much more than just a house. It's a means to fight back. Yes, fight back. Fight back against what? Not paying your mortgage for, 3.5 years? Whether against gentrification. Okay. You know what? Someone said this the other day. White people leave an area, it's white flight, but if they move into an area, it's gentrification. I don't really care. Never mind. Whether against gentrification, systematic displacement, racism, or predatory lending, take your pick. It's a giant red middle finger to the man around which the community has found purpose. I could talk to you all day about predatory lending and the there is such a thing, but I got to tell you. Nope, I'm not going to go. When I was in that industry, you can blame the government for a lot of what happened in the late 2010s. The general details sound like a story straight out of Hollywood. Civil rights activists flock to protect a black indigenous family and historic home that's been in their name for decades from the big, bad, and probably racist government. But the story gets significantly stranger beneath the feel-good veneer court documents reveal. The now infamous Portland, Oregon home is located in the midst of new multi-million-dollar condominiums built in 1896. It's been in the Kinney family for 65 years, according to a website advocating for the home. So use the money to pay off, get your mortgage caught up. They get you a big-ass GoFundMe. Dumbasses. The website's domain name is owned by the Kinney family, according to Who Is Records. 3 family members at the center of the current controversy are William Kinney Jr., his wife Julie, and their son William III, who now goes by William X. Nietzsche. The caller reached out to Nietzsche, seeking clarity on both the website and details of the family's court filings, but requests for comment went unanswered. Protesters have been present at the home since September in an effort to prevent eviction after the family let the mortgage lapse in 2017. And city officials attempted to forcibly remove them. Months later, in early December, the protesters expanded an effort into what they called the eviction blockade. Now, let's go to we already know this, but let's go to they didn't put, where's the court filing? So, skip this because we've already heard this part. Protesters have been present in the home since September in an effort to prevent eviction after the family let the mortgage lapse. City officials attempted to forcibly remove them. Months later, in early December, the protests expanded efforts into what they called an eviction blockade. The family and others involved in the fight blamed the situation on a mortgage scam and fraud. Interesting, according to the site, and have declared it an unfair targeted eviction. If you haven't paid the mortgage since 2017, what's that unfair about that eviction? Perhaps as a result, the backlash against city officials is strong, and the family has reclaimed the property despite it being sold by the bank. The reality, however, is not so simple. The Kinney family traced their issues back to 2002 when they took out a loan against their home for legal fees surrounding their son, William III. The Kinney family website describes this incident lightly, noting that William III was taken to prison at the young age of 17 for an automobile accident. Yeah. In fact, William III pleaded guilty to a felony hit and run, third-degree assault, and what Oregon Live described as the juvenile equivalent of criminally negligent homicide. He was driving with a suspended license and speeding when he ran a stop sign and hit a car, ultimately killing the 83-year-old man and injuring his wife. These details are not noted in the Kinney family website. The Kinneys refinanced their loan in 2004, but eventually stopped making the loan payments when, according to them and court documents, they began receiving paperwork from two different entities. In May 2018, according to the Kinney family website, Clear Recon Corporation was appointed as successor trustee of the 2004 deed of trust, and they initiated the process to foreclose on the Kinneys' home because they weren't paying the mortgage. The Kinneys did more than oppose the foreclosure suit. In Oregon State Court, they filed two separate but ultimately unsuccessful lawsuits in federal court trying to stop it from going forward. These lawsuits came despite the fact that the Kinneys were given multiple notices and options to pay their outstanding debt and ultimately prevent foreclosure. When the Kinneys received the opportunity to pay back the money in January 2017 and throughout the state court foreclosing proceedings, Julie Kinney responded with a lengthy statement declaring herself a living American sovereign. One court document dismissing their complaint shows. In essence, the Kinneys claim to be citizens of a country that they invented. And Julie Kinney's statement listed 5 reasons for rejecting the offer. One was common. Julie alleged that the foreclosing mortgage company, Rushmore, failed to state a lawful claim upon which relief can be granted. The other 4 were atypical for mortgage disputes. 1, she claimed that there was no international treaty. There was no international treaty and that the foreclosure company had no jurisdiction on the land of Oregon and in my republic state. Number 2, Julie alleged that the company falsely accused her of being a U.S. citizen. Now, in my experience, non-U.S. citizens can own property in the United States, and they can be foreclosed on if you don't pay for the shit. It's just much more difficult to get a non-citizen a loan in the United States. I know this. Number 3, the response accuses the company of trespassing and criminally attempting to convert corporate statutes with color into lawful criminal codes without chartered regulatory and delegated jurisdictional authority. And that's a word salad. And then finally, she accuses the company of, again, not being registered and chartered for conducting business in her state. The court documents detail a bizarre year-long process of a family willing to cook up just about any claim as they fought to stay in the home. and that they stopped paying for. So I'm going to leave the rest of this for you to read yourself. It'll be in the links, but they're playing some legal mumbo jumbo games. Let's put it that way. All right. How's everyone doing today? I should probably get caught up in the chat here. Can I get? Oh. Someone tell the ATF there's a stockpile of guns, or there's someone claiming to be a second coming. That place will be smoking ruin in days. Oh no, I know. Wow. That's tough. All right, let's move on. Oh, more COVID news. Since I could possibly have COVID, I'll talk about COVID stuff. This might also be a hero, but I don't know. I'm not sure how this is going to pan out for this particular sheriff. California sheriff refuses judge's order to release 1,800 prisoners due to COVID. California sheriff is standing up to an absurd ruling by a judge compels him to release 1,800 serious and violent offenders, saying he has no intention of complying with the order. Let's see. Orange County, California. Sheriff Don Barnes pushed back against an absurd order from a local Superior Court judge ordering the release of 1,800 inmates, including some who were locked up for murder and child molestation due to the coronavirus. I have no intention of doing that, of releasing those individuals back into the community. I think they pose a serious threat, Barnes told Fox and Friends. The decision by the court was made in response to an April lawsuit filed by the American Civil Liberties Union in an effort to protect disabled and medically vulnerable people at the Orange County Jail, reports said, but Barnes plans an appeal. So, wait a minute. Disabled and medically vulnerable people, what does that have to, are all 1,800 inmates they're talking about disabled and medically vulnerable? Excuse me. Vulnerable? We've released 1,400 inmates to date since March for low-level offenders. The only inmates remaining now are serious offenders. Sorry. The only inmates remaining, pardon me, are serious offenders, he explained. Of the medically vulnerable, 90 of them are in custody for murder or attempted murder, 94 for child molestation. So he hasn't completely refused, just the ones that are in for really crazy things. In the order, Judge Peter Wilson wrote that Barnes' deliberate indifference to the substantial risk of serious harm from COVID-19 infection to medically vulnerable people in his custody violates their rights. Well, they murdered somebody or molested a child. Are we really? I mean, I'm torn here. I'm torn. Anyway, that judge, I don't know, man. Also in COVID news, restaurant workers and owners rally in New York City. This is choking the life out of everyday people. Business owners and workers in the restaurant industry rallied in New York City Tuesday to protest restrictions and inaction from government officials as tens of thousands of establishments across the country have shut their doors over the course of the year due to the pandemic and subsequent lockdowns. Indoor dining in New York City restaurants remained shuttered following what Governor Andrew Cuomo called the unstable hospitalization rates in the region. Outdoor dining, one of the final options for these restaurants, which are now largely restricted to takeout and delivery, will also shut down this week due to a winter snowstorm. Activists gathered in the city on Tuesday to protest the mandatory shutdowns and demand additional access to PPP funding, as well as the trust of local government. So there's a bunch of people out there. Yeah, it was a big protest out in New York City. You can see more of the details of that, but good for them. Moving on. Now, William Barr, in his letter, as you know, William Barr resigned. Was it Monday? Or he put his resignation in. Barr says Trump's record is all the more historic because he succeeded in the face of relentless, implacable resistance. As the Trump presidency winds down, Attorney General William Barr released his resignation letter on December 14th, stating that the president's record is all more historic because he accomplished it in the face of relentless, implacable resistance. Barr added that the lowest point in the plot against the president was the effort to cripple, if not oust, the administration with frenzied and baseless accusations of collusion with Russia. I am greatly honored that you called on me to serve your administration and the American people once again as Attorney General, wrote Barr in his letter. I'm proud to have played a role in the many successes of an unprecedented oh my gosh, unprecedented achievements you have delivered for the American people. Your 2016 victory speech, in which you reached out to your opponents and called for working together for the benefit of the American people, was immediately met by a partisan onslaught against you in which no tactic, no matter how abusive and deceitful, was out of bounds, said the Attorney General. The nadir of this campaign was the effort to cripple, if not oust, your administration with frenzied and baseless accusations of collusion with Russia. Few could have weathered these attacks, much less forge ahead with a positive program for the country, writes Barr. You built the strongest and most resilient economy in American history, one that has brought unprecedented progress to those previously left out. Barr continued, you have restored American military strength by brokering historic peace deals in the Mideast. You have achieved what most thought impossible. You have curbed illegal immigration and enhanced the security of our nation's borders. You have advanced the rule of law by appointing a record number of judges committed to constitutional principles. With Operation Warp Speed, you delivered a vaccine for the coronavirus on a schedule no one thought conceivable, a feat that will undoubtedly save millions of lives. In closing, he wrote, as discussed, I will spend the next week wrapping up a few remaining matters important to the administration and depart on December 23rd. Wishing you, Melania, and your family a Merry Christmas and a blessed holiday season. So that really, that letter by William Barr also kind of dispels the myth that this was a bad breakup, so to speak. I think that, and also the fact that Trump praised Barr upon receiving it may just change a few narratives. Anyway, Supreme Court. Oh, good morning, Gamer Valine. How you doing? Supreme Court had a ruling in favor of a Colorado church, bar state from restricting worship. Oh my gosh, a First Amendment activity, not just protesting. The U.S. Supreme Court ordered Tuesday that a federal court must re-examine Colorado's coronavirus restriction on indoor religious services. In an unsigned decision, the court threw out a federal district court's ruling that had rejected High Plains Harvest Church challenge to the state's restriction on houses of worship, according to the Star Tribune. The decision comes after Star Tribune. Why is that in the Minneapolis Star Tribune? That's weird. Anyway, the decision comes after the Supreme Court granted temporary relief from Democratic New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's coronavirus restrictions on houses of worship. The court also tossed out an order from a Central District of California court that upheld Democratic California Governor Gavin Newsom's restriction on houses of worship. So this is a good thing. The court's saying, you know what? If you're not restricting protest and Walmarts and big box stores and Costco, why are you restricting churches the same way? So there you go. Court's saying, get the fuck out of here. That's what they're saying. All right, moving on. Now, I found this was humorous just because, you know, with the Trump presidency possibly winding down, depending on a couple things that could happen, but I don't have any illusions that they will. The corporate media, however, has got to worry about what they're going to do. What are they going to do without Trump? Because they can't go through another, well, however many years of sycophantery. Gosh, I sound terrible. The corporate media ponders a post-Trump era, and they're worried. President Trump has often said he is good for ratings. It seems CNN and MSNBC agree. One analyst claims that in 2016 he received $5.6 billion in free media during the primary and general elections. This is an outstanding sum, but goes a long way to supporting the president's assertion. Love him or hate him, the people were tuned in to see what he said, and the corporate media knew it. Yeah, CNN was all Trump all the time. Some of these same outlets got eyeballs and clicks during the 2016 election and continued to accumulate views by being rabidly anti-Trump for 4 years are worried now, or at least contemplating that their strategy should be going into what is already a very boring Biden era. His speech following the Electoral College vote was full of platitudes, yet receiving drooling coverage from the corporate media. Another indication of the media's reliance on Trump for the last 5 years is a question asked by the Washington Post's David Ignatius in a December podcast. Quote, "One thing we can be sure of is that Donald Trump is going to want to take up as much of our national bandwidth as he can," Ignatius observed, adding, sorry, "How do we get off that sugar high and treat him after January 20th as former president?" An article in the New York Times this morning indicating how difficult things just might be. CNN and MSNBC thrived during the Trump years, reaching new heights in ratings and revenue while devoting countless primetime hours to criticizing a White House antagonist their viewers could not quit. Now faced with the Trumpless future, top executives at the rival cable news networks have summoned star anchors and producers to private meetings in recent weeks seeking answers to pressing questions. What's next? John Connor, how you doing? John Arnott, how you doing? So anyway, and here's the thing. There's more in that, but I'm just going to go to the next one because I think Jeffrey Zucker might be seeing the writing on the wall. Oh, what the hell's that? CNN president Jeff Zucker is reportedly considering leaving the network. He knows where his bread is buttered. CNN president Jeffrey Zucker is debating whether he should remain at the network amid tensions with his new boss, the New York Times reported on Tuesday. Oh, is that all? Well, because they don't have anyone to talk about. They want to, who knows? I wonder how much, I wonder if anything in those Project Veritas tapes, because he's been putting out the entire calls all month. I wonder if any of this have anything to do with it. Anyway, Warner Media Chief Executive Jason Kilar, Zucker's new boss, doesn't have a history in journalism. Well, neither does CNN. The CNN president is expected to decide his upcoming plans sometime at the start of the new year, and the outcome seems uncertain, several people told the New York Times anonymously. CNN did not immediately respond to a request for comment from the Daily Caller. Zucker, described as a hands-on leader who commands the loyalty of his anchors and star correspondents, he tells them what they can say and what they can't, is quite different from Kilar, who is viewed warily within CNN as a tech evangelist with little experience in news gathering, the New York Times reported. In addition to this, Kilar reportedly took away some of Zucker's responsibilities with little notice. The issue goes beyond Zucker and Kilar, according to the New York Times. Kilar sent out a congratulatory note to CNN journalists on its election coverage in November, but included multiple errors, according to the New York Times. This reportedly suggests that Kilar was not paying attention to the network. Well, and again, it's if Trump's gone, what are they going to do? The ratings are going to dive. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Oh, and then this is special. Twitter has confirmed that Trump could be banned from the platform after inauguration. You know, I think that'd be a terrible move by Twitter, but it's up to them. Twitter confirmed that they could clamp down harder on President Donald Trump's personal Twitter account after he leaves office. You know, the thing is, it's the plebes at Twitter who do that shit, though. I don't think Jack's necessarily involved in some of these decisions, and they should probably learn. Anyway, Trump will lose the protections that Twitter offers to world leaders when he becomes a private citizen. Actually, that's not true. I don't think that's true. As a former president of the United States, I'm going to guess that if this went to a court, they would still protect former presidents too. Maybe not. When he'll lose protections that Twitter offers to world leaders when he becomes a private citizen, exposing him to the possibility of being more strictly moderated and possibly even being banned if he continues to disseminate conspiracy theories. According to The Independent. Hello, Lindsay. According to Twitter's principled approach to world leaders, if a tweet from a world leader does violate the Twitter rules, but there is a clear public interest in value in keeping the tweet on the service, we may place it behind a notice that provides context about the violation and allows people to click through should they wish to see the content, which is complete and utter bullshit. Mr. or Mrs. Editorializing Twitter. I still think someone should sue them for defamation. And whatever someone wrote about somebody on Twitter, Twitter should be part of the lawsuit too. And if they want to not be a platform, that's up to them. But take the liability, instead of being an editorializer. Anyway, no surprise that they're thinking about getting rid of Trump. Moving on. And rich people are leaving New York, shocker, and taking $34 billion with them. New York City's richest residents are fleeing the city during the pandemic, and they're taking $34 billion with them, Reuters reported. But while the high-income residents leave, people with lower incomes are taking their place, according to a Reuters report that looks at migration patterns. The demographic change could have a long-term impact on the city known for its steep cost of living. Between January 1st and December 7th, 3.57 million people left New York City. The Unicast study found by analyzing anonymized cell phone data, nearly 3.5 million people with lower incomes moved into the city. However, the data suggests that the exodus of New Yorkers after months of lockdowns and other restrictions due to the pandemic isn't as large as anticipated. But the loss of income may have long-term consequences, especially if compounded by a significant population decrease. Thomas Wall, chief executive and co-founder of Unicast, told Reuters that the average resident of Tribeca who left in 2020 earned about $140,000 a year, while the person taking their place in the wealthy neighborhood earned on average $82,000. The data shows that many New Yorkers are going to other parts of the states outside of the city, or are moving to nearby states, including New Jersey and Connecticut. Nearly 10% are going down south, especially to Florida. The big question, how does real estate and retail, in particular, adapt to that, Wall said. Well, they adapt by selling less shit. I don't know. It's no surprise between de Blasio and Andrew Cuomo. I wouldn't be surprised that look, de Blasio wants to do a wealth tax in New York City. I don't know. It's oh well. So sad. All right, let's see. Oh, did y'all hear about this shit? Oh, God. So in San Francisco, we're having a school name issue. Listen to this. A Lincoln-named school to change after Honest Abe deemed not BLM friendly. Hello, Resolute Germ. That's a new name I haven't seen. A San Francisco school district is planning to rename nearly 1/3 of its 125 schools named after allegedly controversial figures, including Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Edison, and Senator Dianne Feinstein. The committee's rationale for scrapping Abe Lincoln High School in favor of more politically correct nomenclature is because the former president can't even get through this. Because the former president did not demonstrate that Black lives mattered to him. Which tells me that the people on this committee probably went to public schools in San Francisco. Lincoln, like the presidents before him and most after, did not show through policy or rhetoric that Black lives ever mattered to them outside of human capital and as casualties of wealth building. Lincoln did something. I know he did something. I can't remember. Anyway, Herbert Hoover Middle School is set to be renamed over Hoover's rule in redlining while serving as Secretary of Commerce. Roosevelt Middle School similarly faces a rebranding over its namesake opposition to civil rights and Black suffrage for Black people. But even Democrats and apolitical figures were targeted by the committee. Senator Feinstein, a former San Francisco mayor, will have her name removed from Dianne Feinstein Elementary because she allowed the Confederate flag to fly in front of San Francisco City Hall and oversaw the eviction of the Filipino neighborhood Manila Town, allowing police dogs to attack Filipino veteran elders. Thomas Edison will be removed from Thomas Edison Charter Academy due to his fondness of electrocuting animals. The replacement names have not yet been revealed, and any decision will have to be voted on by school boards, which are set to meet in January. Just a couple more left here, and we'll be done. The student government at Cornell University did something interesting. The Cornell student government removes representatives who voted against disarming their campus police. Now listen to the logic of this. Cornell University student government removed 2 representatives who voted against a resolution to disarm the police. On December 8th, Cornell Student Assembly removed Vice President of Research and Accountability Annie Gleiberman for voting against a bill that would disarm the University Police Department. The Assembly's Executive Committee claims that Gleiberman condoned acts of racism, physical aggression, and emotional violence. I don't know what the fuck emotional violence means. By voting against the resolution. That's why. She can, by saying that. Per the student government rules, a vice president can only be removed through a unanimous vote. So when Morgan Baker, another member of the assembly, said she would not vote to remove Gleiberman, the rest of the representatives temporarily removed Morgan using a 2/3 majority rule so they could unanimously vote to remove Gleiberman. Is this just... And they call people fascists. They call people fascists all the time. A previous motion to defund the police had failed after 15 representatives opposed it. Following Morgan and Gleiberman's removal, 13 of those representatives penned an op-ed in the Cornell Daily Sun excoriating the student government for its brazenly undemocratic display. The simple fact of the matter is that the executive committee wants to stack the student government with loyal allies who will not question their abuses of power and violations of student assembly rules. They wrote, the 13 representatives also claim that the executive committee is planning to selectively use existing but normally unenforced rules on attendance and committee membership to remove members who voted against the defund the police resolution. Those fears seem especially warranted after the student body president, who initially claimed to be neutral on the resolution, was discovered to be working with the Abolitionist Revolutionary Society to put pressure on representatives to change their votes. Weston Baker, the head of Cornell's College Republicans, told Washington Free Beacon that the student government's actions are unsurprising because they're a bunch of idiot college students who don't know any better. These individuals are career harassers who have used and continue to use fear, defamation, and their social status to put down any form of dissent. Excuse me. When those tools fail, they will go at any lengths to achieve their ideology, singular Cornell, without any regard for statute, bylaws, or morality. Unreal. Good morning, Jaeger Pony, my favorite Canadian. What's up? All right. Let's wrap this up. I got a couple other quick ones. Oh my God. This is some Twitter shit. A transgender activist and self-proclaimed science writer. I'm sure you've already seen this story. Presented the argument for potentially putting all children on hormone blockers. The activist, who goes by the name of Zinnia Jones on Twitter and YouTube, she's a trans activist, suggested in a recent thread that children should not be forced to undergo the permanent and irreversible changes that come with their own puberty without first a professional evaluation, suggesting that a child's natural process of growth and maturity somehow constitutes a human rights violation. Jones says that the argument that children cannot give appropriate consent for hormone blockers necessarily leads to the conclusion that we should be putting every single cis and trans person on puberty blockers until they are able to offer informed consent. Jones presents puberty as a choice and one that every child should have the right to decline. In order to bring about this utopia, apparently children should be drugged by default. I'm not reading another sentence of this one. Oh, it wasn't even in the middle. Otherwise known as batshit crazy. Moving on. Oh, about that 2-year-old who's thrown off the plane. I thought this is a good article by Dennis Prager, so I am going to read this one. This is what we'll finish with. Wait, what's the other one? Oh, Deborah Messing. I'm not going to talk about Deborah Messing. She's a dumbass, but I'll leave the link in this. But this one I wanted to read. When 2-year-olds are thrown off airplanes, you know America has changed. You may have seen the video of a family thrown off a United Airlines airplane because you saw it on this show, because the 2-year-old daughter wouldn't wear a mask. Though the family wore masks and the father promised to cover his daughter's face with a mask he placed on her face, it made no difference. Though the child was completely asymptomatic, and though it is exceedingly rare for a child to transmit COVID-19 to an adult, that is why Sweden kept its schools open all spring and summer, with its students not wearing masks, the airline has had its orders and the flight attendant duly obeyed them. As I watched this video, I wondered what the flight attendants thought. For example, did he think this was absurd, not to mention cruel? Did he know that 2-year-olds present virtually no health risk? Did he wonder why adults can sit without masks inches from other passengers while eating, but a 2-year-old seated only next to a family needed a mask? Or did he think he was performing a noble service in kicking a family off an airplane because their 2-year-old wouldn't wear a mask? I hope he thought he was enforcing an idiotic rule and had no choice. Then there is hope for him and for America. Otherwise, he's an irrational automaton among the scariest people of any society. Does United Airlines think it's enforcing a rational and humane policy regarding 2-year-olds as dangerous disease spreaders? Here's what we can assume. United Airlines has made the calculation that if it doesn't enforce every directive from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 2 bad things will result. 1, people will be too scared to fly United. 2, if anyone gets COVID after a United flight on which a 2-year-old was allowed to fly without a mask, the airline will be sued. Regarding children and mask wearing, the CDC website states masks should not be worn by children under the age of 2. The CDC capitalizes not. So while the CDC is adamant children under the age of 2 must not wear a face mask, a child who has just turned 2 constitutes a mortal danger to others on the plane and must be ejected from the plane if she won't cover her face. I told this story to my wife yesterday, and we were thinking about when both of our kids hit that 2 stage, and it's hard enough to put clothes on them, let alone a mask. It just is what it is. Welcome to America in 2020. It is not overstated to declare that the year 2020, the year it became legitimate to question whether America could still declare itself either the land of the free or the home of the brave. Maybe it really is the time to replace the national anthem with some other song that doesn't have us singing what so many of us no longer believe in. When half of America sings those words, they are no longer referring to themselves or what they want America to be. About half of us, more or less, the half that voted Donald Trump for president, still believes that America should be the land of the free and the home of the brave. But half of us, including the entire elite, the major media, the entire educational system from elementary school through graduate school, national, most states, and all major city bureaucracies, and the Democratic Party, neither value freedom nor seek to be brave. When I see Americans walking outdoors with masks on, my first reaction is to mourn the death of reason, and my second is to wonder what college they attended, because one of the many other awful things colleges do to most of their students is make them afraid not only of dying if they pass another human being while walking their dog, but also of dying from global warming, and afraid of any ideas not inculcated into them by their school. That's why they and most of their professors object to conservatives speaking at their school. To the brainwashed, different ideas are frightening and make them feel unsafe. Hence, safe spaces at so many colleges. When viruses killed the equivalent of about 165,000 Americans in 1968 and about 225,000 in 1957, numbers adjusted based on U.S. current population, healthy Americans did not quarantine. No one hid behind masks. No school closed. No store or restaurant went out of business. Why? Because people understood that viruses and death are tragic parts of life, and it never occurred to them to deprive children of their studies, their friends, and their childhood. It didn't occur to Americans that because some people contracted a virus and died, 99% of the population should stop living and earning livelihoods. In that America, the news media were not singularly dedicated to frightening Americans. And the most important, the left had not yet succeeded in ruining the country. After all, far fewer Americans went to college at that time, and high school and elementary school teachers still viewed their vocation as a call to teach, not to indoctrinate. All of this explains how we got to the place where the United States could throw a 2-year-old off an airplane while presumably half the passengers supported her eviction and the other half was cowed into silence. So that's editorial by Dennis Prager, and I wholeheartedly agree. So that's all the stories today. I got through them without dropping a lung. I feel a little better. You guys, I appreciate y'all coming here and listening to me hack halfway through this. I'm here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. Hit the like button before you hit anything else. Before you click away, hit the like button. And Hopefully we'll get that ratio up. And share the streams, donations, all the information is in the description down below. I'm going to edit a small video, and hopefully I'll have it out by noon. So y'all have a great day. Happy birthday, Becca Farley, again. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. I'll try not to, what do they say, 72 hours? Yeah, sometime in the next couple days, I'll know if I have the vid officially. So anyway, thanks, gang. I got to go. My name is PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye.
Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comments section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.